All right, so it is officially that time of the week again. We've got ourselves another Grow a Garden update, which means that we're going to go ahead and break down the entire thing so you know exactly what you need to do as soon as you jump in, as well as what rewards you're more interested in. So as always, let's waste no more time and get right into this video. If you enjoy it, make sure to drop a like. Now, to be fully transparent with you guys, there is quite a lot that we need to go over as far as the part 2 for the fairy event. And because the fairy world has gone ahead and just opened for the next 7 minutes, we're basically going to go ahead and jump right into this to get this out of the way. Now, to give you guys the quickest breakdown at the time that I'm recording this in the test server, the way that this works is rather simple. When this fairy event timer here in the middle hits 30 minutes, this world is going to go ahead and open up for you, which will basically allow you to step right on this platform and enter inside of the fairy world. But in order to even do anything inside of that world, you're first going to need nets. And for that, there is now basically a brand new crafting section here in the middle that you just basically go up to, and you can create fairy nets, glimmering radar, fairy targeter, fairy collar, fairy power extender, luminous wand, as well as the fairy summoner. But like I mentioned before, our main focus right now is going to be making fairy nets. So let's go ahead and click on craft, place inside an already picked sun bulb, then grab yourself a strawberry seed, place that inside, as well as a harvester. Once you've contributed all of that, just go ahead and craft it with 100 fairy points. This is going to take, at least right now, it's set to 30 seconds, which is very reasonable. So go ahead and claim your 20 nets. And with this, you're basically going to be able to go ahead and catch all of the fairies that are sort of spawning around. Like for example, there's one right over there. If we go ahead and make our way to it, click on the side, this is going to give us one fairy jar. That's what this looks like right here. Now, unfortunately, because this is a test server, the ring was kind of bugged for me and I wasn't able to go in, and sadly, it is now completely gone. But this is sort of a good thing because now we can kind of take our time with this and not have to rush with everything else that I need to tell you guys here in the middle. So let's focus up here, starting with over here, the Fountain of Power. Nothing has changed here whatsoever. Let me go ahead and grab this fairy over here. But yeah, this is still the exact same, operates the exact same as last week as well. Primarily, the most important thing about the fountain is that this is going to be a good source of points for you. So that way you can craft some things like, for example, over here, all of the things that I mentioned before, even though it does look like they changed most of these to shekels. Before, they used to all be points, but I know that this one is points, and it actually is a lot of points. So you can craft things like the brand new enchanted chest, which is where you're obviously going to get some of the new seeds, as well as some of the new pets that we will check out closer to the end of the video. You'll also be able to get the enchanted seed pack, enchanted egg, the enchanted crate, and the brand new glimmering crate from inside of here. Now, over on this side, you do have another NPC called the Fairy Genius. This one does absolutely nothing besides give you a couple of tips on how the entire event goes, and of course, keeping track of all of the fairies that you've captured. Same goes for the Fairy Godmother, does the same exact thing as last week, nothing different. Now, once these 13 minutes are up, we'll be right back to go ahead and continue all of the information about this event, as well as also share kind of like a little AFK method that you can do to get a lot of captures on the fairies. In the meantime, let's move on over here to the Garden Ascension. As we mentioned in my last week's video, this is indeed a sort of controversial thing. It still is till this very moment, to be honest. But if we take a look at what are you selling, inside of here, you're going to find pretty much everything from last week, with also now an included 3 additional rewards, which specifically are gates. But the one that I kind of want to point out here is this one called the Laser Fence. It says glowing beam that looks super secure. This one and even the Ascended Fence are pretty interesting because it says like a divine power has blessed this fence with protection. It's kind of cool because it gives me sort of like the idea that potentially this might stop people from going in, but I haven't been able to test them because I refuse to ascend. As for the seed shop, nothing has changed here whatsoever, but there has been a change somewhere else. As you guys know, last week with the introduction of the Ascension system, they did go ahead and add a tier 2 inside of Sam's shop over here. Now, they haven't actually changed anything in here as far as like new seeds or anything like that, but if we travel now to Raphael, which is the pet eggs, talk to him and take a look at the egg shop, you will notice that there is now a tier 2 for the egg shop as well. To access the shop, it's exactly the same as you would do with Sam. You need to go ahead and feed him food and basically level it up to, I believe, level 3 or level 2 in order to actually be able to unlock the tier 2. And then once you've done that, you will progressively unlock things inside of here, like for example, the pet name reroller, which basically picks a new random name for your pets, nothing really too crazy. And then you have the pet lead, which makes your pet follow you for 10 seconds. I'm not 100% sure why anyone would want that, but I guess if you find that cool, then by all means, here it is. The only real interesting thing in here as of right now when I'm recording this is the rainbow lollipop that you obtain at level 6 with this NPC. The rainbow lollipop basically gives you 25 levels towards your pet. So it's really good, really useful. It is a prismatic item, so chances are it probably never really spawns. And I believe that the restock time on this is like 30 minutes or something along those lines. As for everything else here, literally the exact same, nothing has changed. All right, so now that the event has started, basically what's going to happen is just like before, you know, you're going to have all of your fairies that are sort of spawning all around the map, but you can sort of combat this in AFK by just standing behind the fairy godmother, pretty much just auto-clicking right here. This is going to allow you to go ahead and collect every single one of the fairies that leave and come back from basically going ahead and dropping glimmer inside of your farm. As you saw right there, I went ahead and collected one just by standing right here, so you can literally AFK this all night long and just infinitely catch fairies. You notice right there, I just caught another one. It was literally leaving to head on over to my farm and I caught it. Now, obviously, you'll be able to catch a lot more the higher the upgrade you have inside of the godmother, but this is a really good method. In the next couple of minutes here, we're going to have the fairy ring spawn again. So once that comes out, then we can make our way inside of the fairy world and I can show you guys that. I really just wanted to show you guys squeezed in here this sort of quick little AFK method so you can take advantage of it as soon as the update goes ahead and drops. All right, so just a couple of seconds ago, the timer went ahead and hit past 30 minutes. So that means that the fairy world portal is officially available and I can go ahead and enter inside of it now that it is no longer bugged for me. So yes, once you're inside of here, there's a couple of different things that you can go ahead and do. For starters, as soon as you arrive, you're going to find the Lumina NPC right over here that can collect all of your fairy jars, which at the end of going ahead and handing in 100, you will obviously receive a reward. Aside from that, if you talk to this NPC, it will also have a couple of things that he is selling, which you can go ahead and purchase for fairy points. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these things are really expensive. I don't know if this is going to change by the time that you guys see it, but as you can see right here, enchanted chest, 25,000 fairy points. And then you have things like the luminous wand, as well as a mutation spray for luminous and a pet called the luminous sprite. Keep in mind, some of these numbers are actually kind of insane. We're talking about 1,000 fairies to be able to go ahead and unlock this portion, and 3,000 fairies for that pet. So yeah, you're going to be grinding quite a bit. It's actually going to be very important for you guys to do that AFK method that I just showed you. And then of course, in the top right hand side, you can restock this for in-game cash. Now, to the right-hand side of this NPC over here, you're going to find another one that has a sign in front of it that's called Pets. His name is the Elder Wisp Caretaker. Talk to him and you can go ahead and check out another shop, which I actually have a lot of these rewards I'm going to be showing you guys. Obviously, I don't really need to show you the Pet Shard Glimmering, but I do have the Drake as well as the Wisp, which we'll be checking out with the rest of the other pets. Same thing goes for here. Everything is basically strictly for fairy points. Now, from the location of where this NPC is, if we turn left, you're also going to find another NPC. This one is labeled as Cosmetics. His name is the Elder Wisp Architect. Another shop is fully available here, but with things that really aren't going to be the most interesting, except for one item, which is the Wisp Well. This is going to be important because you will need this item in order to go ahead and combine it with the Wisp Pet. But again, we'll get to that in just a bit. Finally, we turn this way once again, and now there is another NPC. This one is called Seeds. More specifically, the Elder Wisp Gardener. Inside of here, you can purchase enchanted seed packs, the Pixie Fern, as well as Untold Bell. Now, aside from those NPCs, you're also going to find all of the fairies that are sort of spread out throughout here a little more commonly and easier to obtain than in the overworld, but you will also find sort of like all these platforms floating around everywhere that you can go ahead and complete to collect some of those pink orbs like you see right up on that tree. There's actually one that's located right over here, and it basically gives you rewards. Like if you notice right there, I got 3 reclaimers. Now I'm going to submit all of my fairy jars here because I do have a couple, not really as many as I need. But on a side note, let's do this little obby here really quick, since we only really have about 3 more minutes before this entire world closes. So there we go. Let's jump up on the tree, grab another one. We got ourselves 3 fairy nets. Climb all the way up here. And let's wait for the next platform, which actually, I might not wait for it. I'm just going to grab this one down here. That gave us 1 enchanted crate. And there we go. We've made it to another one. This one is going to give us 3 fairy nets. Next one will give us enchanted seed pack, and you pretty much just follow along with this. I'm sure you guys kind of get the idea now. It's basically just one gigantic, huge obby. It's pretty cool, and it's kind of different. I mean, I do wish we had a little bit more time inside of the fairy world than just 10 minutes, because it sort of limits you on being able to sort of jump in here, get what you want from the NPCs, while at the same time taking full-on advantage of the rewards from the obby. But you know what? It is what it is. Once you make it up here to the very sort of like center tree, up here you will find 3 rewards on top of the fact that you also find a lot of fairies up here, which actually, let me go ahead and collect these. Oh, look at that. 500 fairy points from that one. Pretty good. So yeah, man, for the most part, that's pretty much everything that I needed to tell you guys about like the whole entire new part 2. Probably the biggest and most important tip here is going to be the fact that you guys need to AFK a lot of these fairies. I mean, as you can see here, unless they change it, we're talking about thousands of fairies that need to be claimed in order to get some of the really, really good rewards. And then on top of that, you also need tens of thousands of fairy points, if not hundreds of thousands, in order to be able to even afford them when you do unlock it. Unfortunately, here is the end of our fairy world here, and we have officially been kicked out. Now, before we go ahead and transition over to checking out some of the seeds, as well as obviously all of the pets that are being introduced and their passives, there is one more thing, or I guess a couple more things that I want to include. And for this, we have to look at the garden guide. So let's pretty much start off with the achievement tab. If you notice down here at the bottom, there is now a section called the mini achievements. Currently inside of here, you're only going to find the fairy event achievement. More than likely moving forward, every single event is going to have some type of mini achievement inside of here that's going to give you a good amount of rewards related to that event. For example, for this one, there's a total of 16 achievements, with the final reward being a custom fence, as well as 5 enchanted chests, a pet shard luminous, as well as a cosmetic wish fountain. You can take a look at all of the rewards obviously up here, very similar to like all of the other achievements. And this is basically what we're working with right now. Pretty basic stuff. You can actually go check this out for yourself, so I won't spend too much time here. The other thing is going to be over here at the daily quest. Unfortunately, I am not able to show you this in its full potential because the final reward is something called a gardener seed pack. I actually have no idea what's inside of here, mainly because there's literally no way for me to be able to do it, even if I did complete every single one of the daily quests. Because if you notice, you have to complete this basically 7 times. And obviously these are daily quests, so it's going to take an entire week before you actually get this reward. But I'm sure you guys sort of get the idea here. Complete all 3 of the daily quests, and then you pretty much unlock one little notch right here. And in return, you will get the item that is at the very top. So you complete the first box, you get 1 normal seed pack. Complete the second one, you get 10 watering cans, and so forth. Pretty straightforward, nothing really too crazy here. The final thing inside of the garden guide is on the left side over here. If you scroll down the list here, you'll notice they've gone ahead and added mutations at the very bottom. So now you can go ahead, see the combo type, the pet value multi, the source, and all of that good stuff. I don't really think it's actually working too well inside of here right now. But if you notice right here, chilled is a 2x multi. Over here, we got clay 5x multi. Chalk over here is 2x. And yeah, you guys pretty much get the idea. So now let's get into the good stuff and pretty much what a lot of you kind of look forward to. And that, of course, is the seeds, at least the important ones, and all of the pets with their passives. All right, so it's now been a couple of hours since the last time that I recorded. And the reason for this is because, well, the seeds actually take an extremely long time. But before we transition over to that part, I do want to include the fact that if you notice, I am inside of the fairy world right now. And technically up here, it says that it's already closed. Technically speaking, you know? Now, I'm not sure if this is going to stay this way for the release, but I do want to include it just in case, because it does seem like right now they made it where if you're already inside of the fairy world, once that portal closes, then you just sort of stay inside of here. Maybe this is a bug on my end or not, but I figured I'd include it in here. All right, so the main reason why it's taken me so long to pretty much record the portion of the seeds is because, well, for starters, the aether fruit over here, which is basically the 1% that you get from inside of the enchanted chest, this bad boy right here has a grow time of 12 hours. So for that reason, unfortunately, even with watering cans, I had to wait, give or take, about 2 hours for this thing to grow. Same thing goes over here for the Untold Bell. This is the one that you get for, I actually don't remember. I think it's like an absurd amount of fairy points, and I think you need to catch like 500 fairies in order to be able to buy this. But this bad boy right here was 9 hours grow time. I don't know if this is going to change by the time that you guys see it, but anyways, as you can see right here, Untold Bell is going to go ahead and grow for about 169k. That is with Windstruck, obviously. Basically, all of them have Windstruck, so unfortunately, I can't really give you like the best reading here, but you guys kind of get the idea here. Bigger one on this side is 259k. Over on this side, we've got ourselves the Emerald Bud. This one has Glimmering, Windstruck, as well as Sun-Dried for 4 mil. And then we got the Pyracantha. I think that's how you say it. But this bad boy with just wet goes for 111k. Aether Fruit. This one right here, pretty cool looking. I am growing one of the fruits right over here, and I used a magnifying glass on it. Still 1 minute left. This one's going for about 90k. Good amount of these seems like can grow for the most part. I think we can have a total of like, I want to say 4 of them growing from one tree, so pretty decent. There is technically one other seed that I'm missing as far as like the really rare ones go, and unfortunately I can't show it to you guys because I have not found a single person with it, nor have I been able to get my hands on it, mainly because it wasn't really available for a long time during the test server, and when they did include it, they sort of put it behind that whole entire fairy catch thing, so a lot of us haven't unlocked it yet. So now let's go ahead and transition over to the brand new pets. Now, of course, we're going to start off pretty much in order here. We're going to go with Cardinal Shroomy, as well as, of course, the Phoenix over here. So we're going to go over all the ones inside of the chest first. As you can see right over here, Cardinal says all magical type plants grow 1.50 times faster. So pretty basic, but obviously one of the easier ones to get. Next up, we've got Shroomy, and the servers are getting restarted. Next up, we've got Shroomy. It says all nearby plants within 25.02 studs will have increased 0.006 times size bonus for every fungus type plant planted in your garden. Not too sure how I feel about that, and I'm going to be completely honest, I don't even fully understand what that means, but I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comment section. But now finally we have the Phoenix. As you can see over here, this is of course the Divine. It says pets taken from the pet mutation machine have a bonus 1 to 5.12 age to their age value. Every 6 minutes, it travels between 4.32 random fruits in your garden which get the flaming mutation. Fruits passed have 20.63% chance to be mutated as well. Kind of hard to see, but over here on the top left-hand side, you can actually see the Phoenix. And then if you take a look right here, this is a couple of bamboos that are actually with the flaming mutation on them. Pretty cool, to be honest. Although an entire garden of this mutation literally looks insane. It quite literally looks like your garden is burning down. But now let's take a look at some of the pets that you obtain over inside of the fairy world. These specifically you would buy for not only fairies caught, but also for fairy points. First one we're going to take a look at is the Drake. This one is a mythical. It says goes to any active cooking kit and breathes fire on it, helping the cooking process and boosting cooking speed by 12.86%. This is actually going to be fairly useful, especially when you take into consideration the fact that it seems like every single one of these updates, we're getting some of these tier 2 shops inside of different NPCs. We're probably going to see one for the cosmetic NPC, and same goes for the gear shop more than likely in the future. Next up, we've got the Wisp. This one says, as long as you have a Wisp well in your garden, the Wisp will go to it to grant all other pets an additional bonus 0.94 times per second of XP. This is what I was referring to before when I was showing you guys inside of the fairy world and the cosmetic NPC that was selling stuff. Unfortunately, if you do get your hands on that Wisp, it is pretty much useless unless you buy that cosmetic item, which I believe was like an absurd 3,000 fairies caught or something like that. I don't even know if that's going to change. I really hope it does. But either way, man, that's pretty much what we're working with right now. Now, I do have a screenshot of the luminous sprite. It says every 15 minutes it flies to a nearby fruit and enchants it, applying the luminous mutation. As I mentioned before, I actually have a couple of these luminous mutation sprays, so I go ahead and put it on this untold bell so you can kind of see what that looks like. Very, very, very similar to glimmering. The only difference is that it's much brighter and has like this aura effect around it. But the price on that is unreal. Thanks to the new section inside of the guide, we can actually see that the multi on this is times 50. So that's pretty cool. Now, with all of that being said, that pretty much goes ahead and now wraps up this entire full guide. With that being said, I will see you in the next one. Take care.